What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is the 3rd day of February. It's actually Tuesday. Time going by so fast. Going over the price action on Nasdaq 100 NQ and going over the trades that I took today. So recording this video at this time, and let's get right into it. So let me start out with the higher time frame. So this is what we look like today. Sell off, massive sell off. I think we dropped over, let's see, over 700 points from the top. I wasn't expecting such a massive sell off, to be honest. I wasn't expecting such a huge sell off. So we came up and basically sold from the right hand shoulder here, basically around the previous daily high, right here. So the previous daily high right here, we took that out and just started to sell off. I was expecting us to continue up. Well, based on what I was seeing, I wasn't expecting us to pull back this steep. I was expecting us to like pull back into this little fair value gap that I have right here. This little fair value gap. Hold on, let me restart this. I had this little fair value gap mark there, and I just thought we would have traded back down into it and give some nice little buy opportunity. That wasn't the case today. So they flipped back to a sell market. So was looking at this little fair value gap. This little fair value gap is the one that I had expected us to just trade back down into, farm a little bit of a wick and then push up. But we had already run the previous daily high right here, so that was the first indication that we would be going lower. So we opened up here, and remember we're selling off from last week. So Monday is what threw off everything when I see this big retracement all the way through this new day opening gap. So now we actually close below it. So let us see if we're going to get some follow through going down. So my bias was a little bit bullish. I was expecting some continuations because I trade from looking at the daily time frame. That's why I established my bias. But because we had sell this little one candle, I was looking at it. We didn't have much of a manipulation to the downside. So no wick, and then we just went up. So we've actually flipped the current weekly candle green, and today we close down here, still inside of this range, a little bit off the highs. Now this candle can possibly come up maybe into here or into 50% of this current one, and then we continue going down. So that is what I'm expecting. Now this thing is just crazy. This thing is just crazy. So 700 point drop. I got stopped out on some buys that I was taking. I'm still holding a swing from last week, and that is still going on pretty decent. So that is it on NQ. All the indices basically did the same thing. So NQ, this is currently the German DAX, the German index. US 30, pretty much the same thing. Not as deep a sell off, a little bit more strength there, so we're still holding up right there. So we're still inside the same range from the last month and a half to 2 months. And SPX US 500, so see we're coming down pretty heavy right now. So Let us see what we're going to get continuing. But currently, SPX still holding up inside the range. Came up and ran some highs as well, and we took came down, but didn't take out any previous daily or weekly lows. So open off the lows for Wednesday's candle, and we're pushing up. So I think we have NFPR, some heavy news this week, and we might be shaping up for this week. But currently we're still inside of a range. So expecting a bit of seek and destroy continuation from that right there. Going down to the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame there. Let's see if I can stylize. The 1 hour time frame right there. I just go and look at the Nasdaq right there. We sold off again, pretty heavy drop, and every candle pretty much just today just went all the way down right at the open in New York, and we just continued down. So we opened right here. As I said, no manipulation. I expected us to come down here and then continue up. We didn't get that, and we just continued dropping. Now let's go down to the 15 minute. If you are trading from an intraday perspective and you're not so keen on getting the biggest entries or the tightest stop loss, then this time frame is for you. We traded up into this fair value gap, and like I said, we came above the previous daily high right here. This was the previous daily high, somewhere around here, and we came into this fair value gap before coming down. So this massive sell-off came down here. Now this was the midnight open. We traded up into it and then coming back down, traded back up again, and then we had a massive drop. I was trying to catch a buy here from an inversion right around 9:30. That stopped me out, and then I tried to take another buy right here. I wasn't interested in any sales, to be honest, at around 10, and I got stopped out for a small loss. Still holding the sales, like I said, and hoping we get some follow through on that. So let's get right down to um, the executions. I'll show you the executions on the chart. So let me bring up the FTMO chart. So see, I'm still floating over 700 pips right there, and I was having some issues with Magic Keys since the last MetaTrader update, but I updated to the beta version, and it kind of solved the problem. So I only lose like $6 here, and I tried to take a buy here on another account and got stopped out, you know. So this was during the 10 o'clock, and I see a reversal pattern form here right inside the 10 a.m. So the 10 a.m. actually was a sell, but I was looking for buys. But from this massive drop, I expected a little bit of a pullback, but we didn't get that. So we just continued selling off, and by the time we got into midday and into the PM session, we started to curl back up, and we ended the day a little bit off the highs. Now this is Asian session, and I didn't take any trades right here. This was a nice little entry for some buys, but I was just getting settled in for after work. So let us see if we get anything for tonight. So yeah, let me go over some entries. So last night, Asia first macro gave us a buy. This wasn't the cleanest one here, so not counting that, but we had a nice scalp buy here, then a sell off from this breaker. This was an entry from an inversion outside of the macro window, but we had an inversion there. Then we had this breaker block This breaker block gave us an entry for the sales, nice little 1 to 5, 1 to 6 almost. Then we came down inside this macro, we had a retest of this breaker. Not the cleanest of entry. I think I took a buy on this sometime here last night before it came back. It was over here. I took a buy before it came back to stop me break even. Then we had this buy opportunity here. I think I went to bed a little bit after 10, and we bought up, up, up. By the time we got to midnight, we kind of got this little pullback here before stair stepping all the way back up, and then now going across into London. We had a nice little sell off here, not anything major. Nice little sell off there during this macro. Another entry right there, right around 4. Another entry right here, going down. So this was London session. By the time we got to New York, I think we had some news and we kind of spiked up here. So this little inversion during this macro, very quick, you know, not the cleanest, because this week this can close all the way up here. So there wasn't much of an entry opportunity right there. And then we just dwarf all of the overnight session movement by just selling off. So this was one entry, well, a little bit outside the macro here, and this was another entry right there. So let me zoom in a bit, adjust this. But this was one entry right around 8:50 to 9:10, and we just sold off going into the New York Open. As soon as we got into the stock market open, the volume picked up and we just started to just drop heavy. Some amount of retrace went on there, but not much. We just continued selling off. Got a little bit of an inversion during this macro. What I was looking at is this, and then I was looking at that we would continue coming up. So I think I took a buy somewhere around here or somewhere down here, but I got stopped out. So this was a nice little inversion for the sell during this macro, and this was the ideal trade of the day. So this was the ideal inversion trade, right there, right at the open of the macro. And if you're not on point, then you're not going to catch some of these trades. So right there would be the entry stops above these highs, so you would be in above the 10 a.m. candle and just holding for basically the rest of the day for over 500 points to into the PM session. So we had one entry there, another such one here, traded back up and gave us a nice inversion again during the 11 a.m. candle. So 10 a.m. candle closed back off the highs somewhere around here. Yeah man. 10 a.m. candle closed here, and immediately we just continued going down into lunchtime, continued selling off, going down, but not much of an entry there. We traded back up into this fair value gap right around lunchtime, and we could have gotten an entry right there, but I wasn't focused at that time, so I didn't take any of these trades. So right here, and then another one little bit coming out of lunch, going into 1 a.m. This was a nice little order block for us to sell from right again during the macro. So another sell opportunity from that order block, right there, coming down into the PM session. We had a spike up, coming back down. So the PM session is where the reversal started. So we went up, came back down, following this macro, another sell opportunity right here, but this was pretty low in discount, so not the cleanest, but we had this entry right here for a nice retracement buys before coming. This is a much better one here, retesting that order block. So coming back to test these lows right here, and this was a nice entry going up. So this was a nice buy opportunity to end the day. So we bought here, going all the way up. So that was how the day played out. So this was the entry, stops below the low, and just targeting some highs, and you could have caught a 200 point retracement, you know, from the lows right there. A nice little trade. The stops a bit wide, but if you're using proper risk management, then that should be fine. So this is another 1 to 5 right there. But that is how we ended the day. So until next time, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.